Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is Chris, and welcome back to once again another episode of the Survivor podcast with my good friend Gocubs 711.
When you run faster than the speed of light, all you can see is darkness.
God damn it! Hey, welcome back. All right, so that. The first thing when I look back to my screen after laughing was the sun in the Survivor logo. So welcome back, guys. This past week was quite the episode, and we're looking forward to recapping it for you.
Oh boy!
So let's get right into it. So we start off back at where else but the Dara Beach, after Tribal, where the Bad Boy Alliance is patting each other on the back for what they did.
He did it.
And so then Tai gives Jason back his idol. And Jason credits their win to destroying the camp, apparently. And Tai wants to mend fences the next morning. And Scott agrees because he doesn't want to be the next Russell Hantz. So Scott approaches Aubrey and tells her that he'll behave around camp as long as they get rid of Sydney next. Aubrey acts like she agrees, but she tells us that she's not going to go along with it, which I think was a very smart decision on her part. So, going on to reward challenge, players will stand with one foot holding up holding up a pot on a balancing beam. The way it was typed here, they forgot or an a pot on a balance beam.
You're just dumb.
Yeah, last person. Yeah, that can happen too.
I'm sorry.
last. It's okay. It's all right. I'll cry later. Last person with their pot in one piece wins food, a letter from home, or a mystery advantage. So the added twist is that everyone is competing against the people who want the same item, and so it'll be 3 winners in all for this reward challenge, which is Survivor First, I believe. So
yeah, I think so. It was an interesting way to do it.
Yeah. So this for the advantage is Tai, Sydney, and Aubrey. For the food, and I'm not surprised that was this 3: Scott, Jason, Michelle.
Yep.
And the letter was Joe and Julia. And we start off, and Joe is immediately out.
Surprise.
And Julia gets the letter from home. Then Scott gets out, and then Jason, and so Michelle wins the food. And then Sydney drops, now it's down to Tai and Aubrey. And it was a good battle, but Aubrey ended up losing it, and Tai wins the advantage. So it turns out that Tai's advantage is an extra vote. So
this has definitely been a twist that's been done before. I think 2 seasons ago with Dan.
Well, it actually happened last season too, I believe.
Well, last season it was steal a vote.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Worth noting too, I was thinking about that too, regarding Stephen Fishbeck and from last season, and Dan from 2 seasons ago, where they each had their own advantage. One was the steal the vote, like you said, and the other one was the extra vote. The tribal council, that when they used their advantage, both of them went home. The same tribal that they used that advantage.
Oh shit, you're right. I knew Steven did, but I forgot that Dan did too.
Yeah, I was reading about that. I was actually reading that from Stephen Fishback's blog on this episode, because I wanted to, because I think I just came across it, but very, very interesting. So hopefully, or at least for my sake, the Tai does not meet the same fate, but who knows?
If that happens again, it's going to be like a Survivor like curse and legend for the extra vote to not ever help you.
And maybe that would be interesting to set up for later seasons of Survivor, when it's like, all right, who wants to compete for the advantage? Everyone's like, oh, I don't
Well,
know.
he'd say it was an advantage.
well, no. Wait. What do you mean? Like,
Like you just say, "Hey, who wants to compete for advantage?" And they'll be like, "Oh shit, an advantage! I want the advantage."
yeah, that's true. It won't actually specifically say if it's like where it had something to do with the votes. All right, fair enough. So meanwhile, Julia is enjoying her love letter, uh, and 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 Gordon here makes a comment saying that she had to work really hard for it, that she had to balance a pot for 15 whole seconds. So a little bit of a dig at Joe. So then later on, she tells Aubrey and Michelle that she wants to target Tai, so he'll play his idol, and if it doesn't work, they'll only lose Sydney. And Aubrey respects Julia's game, but she doesn't want to sit next to her at the end. So Aubrey approaches Tai and says it's hard to know when to trust your heart or your brain. And she tells Tai that certain people are trying to flush his idol and that she'll have his back. Tai shares the info with Sky and Jason, so Tai's little tattletale, and asks if they should align with Aubrey, and then Scott's like, yeah, no, we're going to take her out next. And Tai was not really happy about it. It wasn't really what he was trying to do. So then that opens up the immunity challenge, where the players will be stretched out and press discs against posts, and the last person with their discs in the air.
The discs were just close enough to where you could hold them with the back of your palm, but just far away from enough that you couldn't put your fists on them.
Right, thank you.
As Jeff described.
Oh, okay. I was just like, wow, this is really intricate now. The last person with their discs in the air will win immunity. And it was at this point that I actually turned to my dad and was just kind of like, man, they have a lot of pottery just sitting around for these challenges. So anyways.
Okay, one thing that I'm kind of getting tired of is all the immunity challenges being endurance.
Yeah.
It's...
Yeah, well, I mean, the one that Julia won last week was the one that was less endurance.
Stacking the dominoes kind of thing.
Yeah, that was just more physical.
Yeah, that was different, and I liked that change of pace. But just watching people do endurance for every immunity challenge, it's felt like for the past 2 or 3 seasons.
Right. Yeah, I think that endurance is very interesting to watch, but I agree. I think they should do some more just regular physical
more
challenges.
Variety. There used to be such good variety, but now we only get it at the reward challenges, and even the reward challenge this time was still kind of something similar.
Yeah. Well, the one thing that we can pretty much guarantee is that the final 4 immunity challenge will be something epically physical.
That is my favorite challenge every season.
Yeah, so they always go all out for that. So that's the one you can always look forward to, and if they do a endurance for that, God help us. So
yeah, well, they usually do endurance for the final immunity.
Well, no, that is the final immunity.
No, usually like there's one before the final immunity, and then there's the final immunity. A couple things have changed.
Yeah.
Like last season, it was the rolling balls down the thing.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And that wasn't a really big thing.
And then I think the final 5 one was a lot more intricate. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? All right, so let's get to the immunity challenge. Or wait, no, yeah, what actually happened during the immunity challenge, rather.
Yeah.
So everyone is going, and immediately Joe is the first one out. So that's a running theme. So Scott is actually the next one to go after 25 minutes, and then Julia, Tai, and Michelle all fall, and it's then down to Sydney, Aubrey, and Jason. And then finally Sydney drops, and then it's a hardcore battle between Aubrey and Jason. one of my favorite moments. Jason at one point he spits on the ground and Aubrey immediately like follows him, but like was like a lot less aggressive about it.
Yeah.
That was funny to me. But anyways, Jason is able to hold on, and boom, they and he wins the immunity, and he's safe at tribal, and he's saying that all three of them are going to be safe. Him, Sky, Ty. He's saying that all three of them will be safe at
Such
tribal.
confidence.
Such confidence. So now everyone's kind of just like hanging around camp. The guys are high fiving, and they're basically saying that they're definitely gonna target Aubrey. Later, Julia tells Scott and Jason that the ladies are targeting Ty to get rid of his idol. They pitch her coming on board because they don't think they could beat Ty at a final tribal. Meanwhile, Sydney wants to target Scott instead. Aubrey's willing to go along with it because she likes Ty. And then Aubrey asks Ty what he wants to do. He isn't sure because he realizes his best bet is probably to go to the end with the guys. And Aubrey's just saying that you have three people behind you. We want to do what you feel is comfortable, and that that is the most important thing to us right now. So, basically, it's who knows what's gonna happen. Could be something big. That night at Tribal, Scott confesses to doing some trash talking, but he says he's not going anywhere. Jason says either the women decide which of their players is going home, or they will. Aubrey doesn't know what's going to happen. Jason and Scott laugh because they told everyone what they were going to do. Sydney is nervous because she jumped ship, and Jason and Scott are salty.
Salt.
PJ Salt. She also mentioned that she hasn't won any challenges. Jason points out that the people who win challenges aren't going home tonight. Ty doesn't boast in his personal life, but this is war. Jason and Scott point out that Ty has stepped up for them time and time again. And Aubrey thinks the challenge was her chance to prove that she's not just a brain. Scott and Jason both think she's been kicking butt the whole time. Then we get to the voting. Julia votes for Ty. Jason votes for Aubrey. Aubrey votes for Scott. And the rest are secret. So then, here we go. Probes tallies and returns. He asks him...
Julia keeps looking at Ty, going, play your idol. And he's like, no, I'm not going to play it.
I'm not going to play it. Of course not. It would be stupid if he did. So, yeah, and so no idols are played. We get one vote for Ty. One for Aubrey. One for Scott. And some girls shouting Julia from behind me in their back fucking yard like fucking assholes. And I
can hear that.
It's 10:47 in the evening. Anyways, ruining the intense moment here. One vote for Ty, one vote for Aubrey, one vote for Scott, one vote for Ty, one vote for Aubrey, or one vote for Scott, and the 11th person eliminated for Survivor Count Wrong is Scott. But wait, Scott turns to Ty, begins to ask, hand it over, or begins to say, just hand it over. But Ty says no, way.
He doesn't give Scott the idol. And Scott's just like, wow. You're not going to do it. Okay, so when I heard that about the idol this season, I was like, the super idol this season, I was like, okay, cool. That's gonna add like a different sort of dimension to the game. At least for one tribal, and I was interested to see what it would be like. Fully thinking that this super idol was going to be played at some point. But the promise of the Super Idol and getting so close to it being played, only to have it ripped away at the last second, is so sweet.
Even though it was
I don't
never
even care that I
used.
liked Scott and wanted him to win.
Yeah. Even though if it was not used, it still had the effect that it would have had if it was used. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it would have still it still was a huge part of the game, even though its actual usage was never actually presented. You know,
Because
so
with the idea that they were gonna have the Super Idol, Jason and Scott were both like, "Hey, we're all safe. We don't need to do any gameplay this week," and so they didn't. And then Ty fucked it up.
and it's yeah, it's
This is one of my all-time favorite plays of Survivor.
it was
If
absolutely amazing.
if Ty goes on to win the game, knock on wood, um, it will be my favorite play of Survivor.
It really it was really so it's something that we're going to be looking back on as the
Definitely.
season, not even as the season goes on, but just as future survivors happen. We'll see if anyone can really retop it, but it was
There have
such a
been
great.
some really bad plays in Survivor history that the person tried to be like, "Oh, I'm going to change the game." Looking at Cass,
Yeah.
but this was not one of them. Or
it,
this was not a bad one. This was fantastic.
it was fan freaking tastic. So let's talk about what is our predictions for this upcoming week, and we're gonna start off with as we always do, the immunity. Go ahead, Gocubs. Who do you think is gonna win the
All
immunity?
right. Well, she's been good in challenges so far, and I think she can continue it. I'm going to say Julia.
All right, Julia,
I
and
think she has a lot to try to prove that
she could kick
she
butt.
can win this.
Yeah, she absolutely has the potential to go all the way. I think that she, even though now she's kind of in the minority, I think that she'll find a way to get back into it. Um, as for who I think is going to win immunity, I'm thinking why not back to back win for Jason,
Totally possible.
especially since he's on a revenge trip now.
He needs it.
He's raging. He's
I don't.
mad.
I don't think anyone's going to pull a mic and win straight immunity,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Oh, by the way, we completely forgot to mention this, and when I was talking to you earlier, Go Cubs, I completely forgot about it. I was like, oh yeah, he still has his idol. Jason doesn't have an idol anymore.
yes, he gave it to Scott because he's like, "Hey Scott, you might need this tonight. Here you go." And then Scott went out of tribal with it.
Yep. So that
So Ty is the only one holding an idol, and the super idol will not be used unless they put another idol in the game.
exactly, and the only idol in play at the moment is Ty's. So
Guys,
amazing, amazing. All right. So that's our predictions in terms of immunity. And now,
did we talk about the extra vote?
um, yeah, I brought up the
Yeah,
extra
we
vote.
did.
Yeah. So that was where we talked about like Stephen Fitchback and Dan and all of them.
Yeah.
So then,
That's before the podcast or not. We should stop talking before the podcast.
yeah, yeah, I know. So then we get to who we want to see, or not who we want, but who we think is going to be eliminated. So you could go ahead and start.
All right, so I don't know why I chose this because you'd be really dumb to eliminate this person because of how little likely he has a chance to win. But I'm gonna say Joe.
Yeah, I think the only way that he can win this game if he gets carried to the final three and then he pulls like the I'm a cop. I served the country. I think he said he was part of the Navy.
What if he pulls off his mask and it's Philip?
Well, you see, Joe's at least a little bit more coherent than Philip. So Philip
right.
did a great job not being incoherent in any way. So, anyways, as for me, I'm actually gonna go with who Gocubs thinks is gonna win immunity. I'm gonna say Julia.
And win the whole thing.
Yeah, and win the whole thing. And the reason why is just because of the idea that she is on the bottom, and that I think that it could easily separate if the three of them make an alliance, like Michelle, Julia, and Jason, they may form like their alliance to kind of stay strong. If Julia's eliminated, that kind of cuts the tie between Jason and Michelle, because Michelle hasn't really loved Jason. Or say again. Tie.
I was making a joke.
Oh, okay. I was just like, oh, did I accidentally say like Ty is in the person? But okay, so that's who I think is gonna go home. But who knows? This season has been wacky, and I've been loving every minute of it. So yeah, that is that. That is our podcast. Gocubs, would you like you do your little recommendation?
Yes. I would love to. I didn't think of it.
Yeah, do you want to skip it for this week? You want to get
no. I'll get to it real quick.
Right. Yeah, you got it. You got this.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know what it was gonna be. So today is the 15th anniversary of Shrek. So if you haven't seen Shrek yet, for whatever reason, go see it, because it's one of the best animated movies of all time.
Somebody wants some. I hate the sharpest shoe.
That reminded me of something. Someone put All Star on blast on social media or something. They were like, people or Smash Mouth. They were like, people only know you because your number one songs were in Shrek, and they were like, your only number one song was in Shrek, and like they responded, that's not true. We had 2 number one songs, and one of them wasn't even in Shrek.
There you go. oh, Smash Man. Oh my god. I actually have my own recommendation, and that is totally watch The Amazing Race. I'm just kidding. It's a shit show.
It's gonna be like, we're not doing a third podcast.
No. I actually decided to watch an Amazing Race episode because I haven't watched it in a while. So
I used to like it like 8 years ago.
Yeah, and then but this year it's like the YouTube edition, the YouTubers or the.
Oh yeah, who do I know that's on there?
The only person I know is Tyler Oakley.
Yeah, I saw him. I saw someone else. Let me.
It might have been someone from Rooster Teeth. Not too sure.
Oh, that was it. Maybe.
But it is not. It's just not good. The show. It's funny because it's the one that always won, like the Emmys, and it's like, it's not to me. Especially with this like YouTuber edition, like it kind of like people. These are people that are used to playing it up for the camera. Like I don't know. It's to me. The whole show. It's just not interesting to me anymore. So
yeah, it was the Rooster Teeth people that I knew.
Yeah. So. That I just for some reason wanted to bring that up because I was just like just to say that Survivor and even Big Brother have been much better, and at least it's a somewhat that they both have been very much more interesting to watch than Amazing Race.
Can I share what I'm hoping for Big Brother this season?
Oh, absolutely.
That Rob Gronkowski comes back in every episode.
And he has no idea what he's doing there, but he just still shows up. He
like acts like that's his house.
Yeah. He just comes in with the groceries and everyone,
guys,
and like there's
hey,
like
what happened to Bob? He was here yesterday.
He didn't pay his rent, I guess. I don't know. I just got kicked him out, I guess. I don't know. Dude, and I said this on Twitter. I just cannot wait for Big Brother just because it is just so intriguing to watch,
We've been
good or
seeing way
bad.
too good of gameplay.
Good or bad, it will be very fun to watch again because it's fun. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Whatever
And
the hell this was.
whatever the hell this was. And we'll see you guys next week for yet another recap. Bye bye.
Or something.
Or something. I don't know.